speak to the topic of minimum wage?
Now, if you look at who really earns minimum wage, you dissect the numbers, most of those people who earn minimum wage really live at home, still live at home with their parents. Yeah. Because businesses just can't afford that pay. McDonald's can't afford, or some of these other businesses that require, they'll just convert to kiosks instead of having employees.
New Hampshire used to have a minimum wage. In 2011, the legislature, for some reason, decided that we should be one of the only states in the country not to have a state minimum wage. So that's one thing. Secondly, I co-sponsored the bill that would have raised the minimum wage in 2 steps to $9 an hour by 2016. If the minimum wage in effect in 1979 had kept pace with inflation, the minimum wage today would be $9.47. So an increase in $9 wouldn't even have kept up with inflation. In terms of what that $9 increase, in terms of who that would affect, as I mentioned in my opening remarks, it affects 76,000 people in New Hampshire, 14% of the workforce. To make it more local, there are 10,000 people in the Seacoast that would benefit from this, which is about 11% of the workforce. Now, this argument that it only affects kids is false as well. 72% of the people that are impacted are over the age of 20. 36% are age 30 and over. 59% are women, and 14% are parents. And then the final point I would make is you cannot live on the minimum wage. The minimum wage works out, if you work full-time on the minimum wage, it's below the poverty level. So we need to do something. And the other thing is, by raising the minimum wage to $9, it would inject $65 million into our economy. And that's $65 million that gets spent immediately. It doesn't get put into a CD because these people have to spend the money. And there's a multiplier effect that leads to economic growth.
It's also a job.